Virginia, Duke, Kentucky, and North Carolina. The Blue Devils announcing Zion Williamson will remain out tomorrow against Virginia Tech due to a sprained knee. And today, the NHL trade deadline. The San Jose Sharks acquired Gustav Nyquist from the Red Wings. The Winnipeg Jets get Kevin Hayes from the Rangers. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Listen to Taz and the Moose.
In an old Mustang, I could fight the cops with my bare two hands. End up in jail, eating microwave hell, but I'm a little smarter than that.
Good afternoon, Bryan College Station. Welcome to the Beliucci Hour lunch live on Sports Radio 1150 The Zone 102.7 FM. I am your host, Ryan Brauninger. We are on the stage here at the Tap on Harvey Road, checking out the Tap's great lunch menu. Belated applause from the front table. I guess we just got the speakers going in here. Tap's great lunch menu, $8.49 burger basket, $8.49 buffalo chicken tenders today. It comes with fries and a drink. Don't forget now at the Tap on Tuesdays and on Fridays, they have crawfish starting at 6 p.m., 6 p.m. on the Crawfish on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then Monday nights karaoke, Wednesday nights piano bar. If you want to check out anything going on here at the Tap, visit their website, tapbcs.com, for more information. A lot of stuff to get to today. The biggest news in terms of A&M sports, I think, or at least the biggest talking points this morning from A&M sports was Beliucci's interview that came out this morning on TexAgs with Jimbo Fisher, about a 25-minute interview that was presented by Yeti with one-on-one with Liucci and the head man. We'll get Billy's thoughts on that. Aggie baseball dropped their first game of the season on Sunday, and having some conversations with the front table before the show started. It's still early, I agree, but the hitting is head-scratching at this point. The pitching is going to keep you in every series, and there's no doubt that John Doxakis and Asa Lacy have been fantastic, and even Jonathan Childress on Sunday has been good for a freshman. But like we said, you know, these first two weekends and the midweeks, first two midweeks, are going to be should be to just work the kinks out, right? Because this weekend or next weekend coming up in Houston at the Minute Maid Shriners Classic, that's going to be the litmus test. And the Aggies will have Baylor on Friday, TCU on Saturday, and University of Houston on Sunday. All three of those teams probably going to be ranked in the top 25 this week. If U of H isn't, they just came off of a series win against a ranked Arizona team at home, a team that A&M is very familiar with, saw them 2 years ago in the regional, knocking them out of their own regional. So I'm sure the Cougars and Todd Whitting, their head coach, will have a score to settle, a little bit of a chip on their shoulder when the Aggies roll in there this weekend. I want to see in these midweek games, I think it's important that some of these guys, the A&M bats, get going. Braden Shoemake had a nice day on Saturday. You would have liked to see him continue that on Sunday, but I think it would go a long way to see some crooked numbers in the midweek against two Southland Conference opponents this week, to be able on Tuesday and Wednesday to just be able to put up some big round numbers or big crooked numbers, throughout the middle innings of a game and really ice the game away early. It would do a lot of benefit for the confidence of the A&M hitters and just the feeling in the clubhouse, because what you don't want to have is early in the season, you don't want to have this feeling that we're pressing and, oh, my gosh, we've got to make these season-long analysis and assessments about a team 8 games in. And the worst thing that you can do right now as a good offensive team, I'll say it's a talented offensive club, there's no doubt. The kids in the A&M lineup are talented kids. I just I think from a confidence standpoint, it would do them a lot of good to get themselves rolling here early on in the season. Like I said, just to see the balls come off the bat well and score some runs. Aggie basketball, how about that win on the road in Fayetteville? First time since, 1986 that the Aggies win in Fayetteville. Savion Flagg, sophomore forward Savion Flagg, SEC Player of the Week after a fantastic performance. I've always thought that Savion Flagg could be the next Daniel House type of player from the same area of Texas, built similarly. We all believe there may be some change in leadership, and what could a new, if he's got some fresh air and some new blood behind him, what could his final 2 years in Aggie Land look like? He's a super talented kid and can play the shooting guard, he can play the three, he can play the low post, very versatile. When he wants to defend, the athleticism is there in spades for him to defend, and I think he scores the basketball. I think I saw where there was a direct correlation between A&M. A&M's now won 4 of their last 5 on the hardwood, and there's a direct correlation between Savion Flagg's shooting percentage and A&M winning basketball games. And certainly for him to have that kind of impact on this team is an indication of what kind of player he can be going forward and how big of an impact he can make. But if you get him playing more consistently and you can get TJ Starks playing more consistently, there's some nice pieces here. And credit to those kids, and even credit to Billy Kennedy and his coaching staff, that they were able to hang in and play through a really rough stretch, and they haven't given in on the season. You can watch that team play and continue to say they're playing with effort and they're playing with really all the stuff that Jimbo Fisher wants in his football teams. The basketball team is playing with right now with really nothing on the line other than pride, and they're playing hard for Billy Kennedy and his staff, and they should be commended for that because this could have turned into a very ugly final stretch of the season. And now they've really positioned themselves. If you look at it, listen, it's a long shot, and I wouldn't predict it to happen, but they've put themselves in a position where if they win enough games down the stretch and make a little bit of a run in this tournament, they may be in a CBI, NIT bid kind of team. Now, I don't know what that means in terms of the future of the program, but it is worth noting that a month ago we would never have said or even have spoken about any kind of postseason for this basketball team. So, again, kudos to Billy Kennedy and his staff to 4 out of the last 5 and a good SEC. Beating teams that they're more talented than, and on the road, man, I was born in 1986. I don't know how many of these guys at the front table were going to basketball games at the Holler House on the Brazos back then at G. Riley, but that's a long time. And to go into Fayetteville, a really tough place to play, and an Arkansas team that had a lot to play for. There was still a lot on the line. There was a lot on the line for Alabama when they came in here, and A&M was able to beat them at Reed Arena. So encouraged, I think, is a good word to say when you talk about this basketball team. It's spotty, and I think everybody knows with the lack of roster depth, it's going to be inconsistent. And listen, the roster depth and what the roster looks like in what year are we in Billy Kennedy's regime? 8? 7? 8? You're 7 or 8. He's responsible for the roster. There's no doubt about that. But with that, there's going to be inconsistencies because there's no depth at guard. I think a huge bright spot lately has been Wendell Mitchell has been coming on, and he's starting to play like the guy that they thought they were going to get out of junior college. And I don't know if it took him a while to get his feet wet or to get his confidence or just to get in sync with the rest of his teammates. But, again, another piece going forward. Josh Nebo, a really good piece going forward. Christian Mekawulu is playing better than I thought he would play. There are some nice pieces for whatever happens in the offseason. There's some guards coming in. Severe Wheeler out of the Houston area. It looks like a phenomenal young player to be able to come in and play that one and maybe take some pressure off of T.J. Starks going forward. I think T.J. Starks can play the point guard. I would love to see him as this team's leading scorer, where he doesn't have to bring the ball up, where there's no pressure on him to get guys into the offense. There's no pressure on him to have to make assists, where he can go, if you pass me the ball early and we can spread out like a James Harden kind of thing. We get late in the shot clock, we can put you on one side of the floor and let you play a one-on-one game. And I think that's I don't think, as of right now in his career, that's what he's best at. So the pieces are there regardless of what happens this offseason to say, going forward in the 2019-2020 basketball season, there should be enough pieces, enough players there where A&M can make a run at the NCAA tournament, regardless of who the head coach is. And I think the expectation next year needs to be playing in March and be playing in the tournament. And like I said, with the amount of players coming back, I think that can happen. When we get Liucci in here, we're going to get – I saw we've got some early season or some off-season topics that are kind of bizarre. Well, not bizarre. I saw the first SEC quarterback ranking going into 2019, and I want to get Liucci's thoughts on it. It had Kellen Mond 7th going into next year. And when you see something like that, and listen, there's going to be a million of these lists, right? And the validity of them, who knows? But to have Kellen Mond, it was bizarre for them to have him 7th with guys like Jake Bentley ahead of him on this list. And Luce, just listening to Jimbo talk about Kellen, and then to have him set. Well, you've talked about having him 2nd.
Jackassery.
Jake Bentley ahead of him?
Finest.
How does that happen?
Jake Bentley, he threw for 500 against Clemson, so I guess if you ignore every other piss-poor effort by the guy last year.
I was high on Jake Bentley last year.
Despite having, Debo Samuel and a couple other good receivers, although they were terrible, the day A&M played them, they dropped everything. But
this list also had Kelly Bryant at 3rd.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Kellen Mond, as in his second game last year as a sophomore, was better than Kelly Bryant was playing with Clemson's talent around him on that day.
Well, yeah.
Kellen Mond was better than Kelly Bryant. Kelly Bryant, in that
He's a nice
game,
player.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine, yeah. We're lucky Jalen Hurts left. They would have probably had him in there, too. He would have been 8th. But
I have to go back and look at the list.
I don't want it. Who put the list together?
It was one of these preseason, like some guy was a writer from somewhere in the South, and he did his, rank the SEC quarterbacks and put it on YouTube, and I found it last night. It was just but even if it's, somebody from Podunk, Mississippi making this list, like how can you put Kellen as a middle-of-the-pack quarterback? And in his analysis –
that's probably why he's from Podunk, Mississippi.
Well, I don't know, but what I'm saying is regardless, he didn't do his homework. But even when he was talking about Kellen, he was like, he could be a dark horse Heisman candidate. I was like, as the 7th best quarterback, and it don't make sense. So.
I'm not worried about any of that.
Right.
Here's what I'm worried about is will Kellen Mond be better in 2019 than he was in 2018, and then how much better? Mm-hmm. That's the wild card. I think it's safe to say he'll be a better player next year. The only way I think Kellen Mond's performance dips would be, and this wouldn't even be a sure thing, because if the running game doesn't get going without Travion and Eric McCoy, you don't have the tight end. If the tight ends are slow developing, because we know how talented they are. But I think pass pro should be okay, because you lose McCoy, but you do need a running back that'll protect like Travion. He probably saved however many throws or however many drive-killing sacks.
That's one of the reasons why he's moving up draft boards.
No question about it. He's the complete running back. Again, the only thing Travion Williams lacks is height, and of all the positions on the field, that's where it matters least. But so even if all that happened, then maybe you start to see Kellen Mond, the playmaker, emerge as a veteran experience. But if he's got some running game, which I think, not that I'll go on record and say this. I don't know if Jimbo Fisher will ever have a running back run for as many yards as Travion Williams did at A&M last year. It was top 8 or top 6 all time in SEC history, yardage total. He didn't miss a game. And on top of that, it's 17. He was approaching 1,800 yards rushing. So even if in the next decade Jimbo doesn't have a back do that, I think his system at running back and tight end, because they're going to recruit at a certain level, okay, it's going to be plug and play. You're not going to have Travion, and what you hope you get is somebody with the clutch and the toughness and that moment guy that he was. But yardage-wise and a productive ground game, I think the tight ends and running backs are always going to be, they're not going to be years off when it comes to that. And I think he's always going to be committed and have a successful ground game. So when that happens, Kellen Mond is going to be better this season. His receivers are going to be better. The question is, he's going to be more confident. He's going to be more well-versed in the offense by leaps and bounds. The question is how much better, and that is one of the big wild cards on this football team.
And you would trust in Jimbo Fisher to get him to that next level. On the other side of the break, you had a great interview with Jimbo. I want to get into some of that.
Yeah, and last but not least, can he do what he did in the finish at LSU in that Clemson game? Because if he's confident and he's got all that stuff around him, can Kellen Mond, the playmaker, come out and win A&M a couple games that they maybe otherwise wouldn't?
On the other side of the break, a lot more to get to in terms of Liucci's interview with Jimbo and then the NFL Combine this week. You listen to Beliucci Hour Lunch live on The Zone. Welcome back to Beliucci Hour Lunch. Ryan, Beliucci with you from here at the Tap on Harvey Road. Don't forget Monday night karaoke, Wednesday night piano bar, Tuesdays and Fridays starting at 6 p.m. Now the Tap has crawfish, so we'll have crawfish boils. Luch, I'm sure I didn't listen this morning, but I'm sure you and Gabe probably hit on your interview a little bit with Jimbo.
Not much.
I thought he said some really interesting things. And last week you brought up, he said something about Deneric Prince, but
Yeah.
I thought it was so interesting what he said about Josh Henson and Joe John Finley and about, a lot of guys that come in, they're good recruiters and they're good coaches, and he acknowledged Jim Turner and Tim Brewster as that. He said, but the thing with Joe John and Henson is that they understand how their pieces fit into the entire thing, and they have already started pushing him in terms of, hey, we've got these pieces. We can do this. What about this, coach? And he said he enjoys that. Mm-hmm. He enjoys having those eyes. And I think that's why he hired a guy like Daryl Dickey. And I talked to a high school coach that was really familiar with Coach Dickey and the way he did things and said he was surprised how much Dickey's influence was on A&M's offense last year. So I think people that think Jimbo is so stubborn and hard-headed about calling plays, that they're completely missing what's happening behind the scenes here.
Yeah, people get offended or threatened or they think it's a negative when a boss acts like a boss and when a leader acts like a leader. And, nowadays people think that you want to use, you're using other people's word, but you're saying the word stubborn or hard-headed or, as a boss, you can be thought of as a jerk. I'm sure there's plenty of times you guys think I'm a jerk. I'm doing it for the best of our content, the best of our company, the best thing, to make this thing go and be as successful.
You've read
as
some
it is.
books about that leadership.
I've written them, right? I've gotten them handed to me. But the guy still thinks that's a true story, by the way. That's what's so freaking sad. But anyway, Jimbo, it's actually the exact opposite. And I don't know if that was a narrative that came about from Florida State people or if that's just an assumption because it's a guy who –
maybe it's because he's from the Saban coaching tree.
Yeah, and because it's always been his offense. And, yes, he does call the plays, and, yes, it is his offense. But I had a college long-time D coordinator tell me the same thing recently. He said, I definitely see Dickey's influence in it. And that's the sign of a guy that can evolve, adapt, stay ahead of the game. And that's the sign of somebody that really wants to be great. It's to say, there are other ideas other than mine. I like what I do. I like the core of it. I'm never changing that. I'm not changing what I believe in. But I'm going to surround myself, not insulate myself, and surround myself with weak-minded, non-creative people that don't bring any other ideas.
Right.
Yes, man. We talked about that room a few years ago, and it was just too much of a hodgepodge offensively between Spav and Christensen and McKinney and Beatty. It was too much of a hodgepodge, people thrown together, not like-minded in the direction they were going or wanted to see it go. And then, and Coach Sumlin wasn't actively involved in that offense. Again, there's a million different ways to skin a cat, but that one way for that couple years, that was not a successful mix at all. And it happens everywhere. And I think maybe it's I don't know this, but maybe it's happened to Jimbo in the past, and he's learned from it. I mean, that's what you do as a coach.
Sure.
Maybe Kevin Sumlin learned from it, and he won't have that same problem at Arizona. Well, that remains to be seen. But the point is, what he's got going right now is, you mentioned Dickey, longtime OC, successful OC, and a head coach, obviously. You mentioned, and Dickey comes over from Memphis. Josh Henson is calling plays in back-to-back SEC title games as recently as 5 years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Who was that Mizzou quarterback?
That was, 1 year it was
Matty Mock.
The second year was Matty Mock. The first year was James Franklin.
Okay, yeah.
From Lake Dallas High School. But calling plays in SEC title games, and will probably be a coordinator again soon. And you've got him in the room, and Jimbo's comfortable with him because he's worked with him. So, again, he understands those core principles and the foundation on which Jimbo's offense is built. So there's cohesion and chemistry there. And then you got Joe John Finley, who is also a part of that Missouri offense. So there's going to be some kind of, even though they didn't overlap. Yeah, they did overlap. No, they didn't overlap. There's going to be some connection between he and Henson. And then Joe John, if you talk to anybody in the profession, they feel like he's, not long from being a Power 5 OC. So
very similar to the Mo Linguist and Elijah Robinson hires. Would you agree?
Yeah, no question about it. But I just think, just sticking in terms of what they're doing on offense right now, I think they got quite a little think tank going. And you look at Damian Craig and Jay Graham and the amount of time they've had with Jimbo and how they know that offense. I mean, I love the mix and the dynamic of everything we just said, and youth, and then the experience of Jimbo and Daryl Dickey. It is a great blend in that offensive room. That's not to take anything away what they've got going on defense, but just the staff in general.
Well, to go over to defense, to hear him talk about, and he went on about Michael Clemens, and you've been going on about Michael Clemens, but if he emerges to be the player that, was there in the bowl practices and we expect to have a big spring, to be the everyday guy at defensive end, doesn't that give, at least I would think, the coaching staff a little bit of an exhale, because now you can do it to Marvin Leal with what you did with Bobby Brown last year, where you don't have to throw him right into the fire because you've got a veteran, a guy that's played a lot of football there. Show him the ropes, let him fill in and get his snaps in those big games when needed and when his athleticism can help him. But you don't have to do that every time.
Hopefully. I mean, of course, what if he's just, without question, one of your two best, then he's on. But I think there's enough there that it's going to be tough for him to do that right out of the chute, because I think Tyree Johnson could be poised for a breakout. You talk about Tyree Wilson. Max Wright could be an inside-outside guy.
He went on and on about that defensive line.
Yeah.
It would probably, and I don't know all the ones he had. He had some really good ones. The one with Mario Edwards on it at Florida State was really, really sting good. The one he had a couple years ago when Marvin Wilson was a freshman was really good. But this might be his best defensive line he's ever had in terms of depth and talent.
Well, depth, maybe. I'm not going to act like I'm that familiar. Yeah. Are you with what he really had there?
I don't know all of it. But.
I know this. He's damn excited about it, and it feels like he's excited to that level that maybe he's like, I can't wait to see these guys. But you mentioned Clemens. So much of that, I think, depends on him, because then it does give you a lot of flex, and I think they're going to have flexibility with these pieces. But it would give him a lot of flexibility.
And he mentioned a lot of those guys by name, and like you said, Bobby Brown, 330 plus right now.
Yeah, we've talked
to move
about
the way
that.
he does. And then another name defensively, Buddy Johnson, said he was. I don't think people maybe noticed how well Buddy played, and I certainly didn't. But if Jimbo, the head coach, thought he played very well down the stretch, would be a huge one of the key pieces to next year's defense is going to be Buddy Johnson.
I don't think
if he turns the corner.
Question. And I've said. 3 guys that were going to be such a key for, in my opinion, were going to be 4 guys really, like Elijah Blades, Buddy Johnson, Anthony Hines, Michael Clemens. 3 of those 4 were not on your defense last year. You lost a lot of guys that could play. I'm talking about across that whole defense. Obviously, both your linebackers. But you got to have some guys that didn't play. I mean, obviously you want Bobby Brown better, and this guy, Justin Matabike to be a superstar, and Leon O'Neal. But you got, and I'd even include Leon. Those are 4 guys right there that you feel pretty good, and you just go, they can play. If Blades lives up to where he should, and then Hines and Buddy and Leon, they can play. They haven't, in the case of Leon and Hines and Clemens, they haven't really shown it yet. But you probably feel like, given the chance, these guys are going to make stuff happen. There's some really talented, let's call them new faces in Elijah Blades, Michael Clemens, Buddy Johnson, Anthony Hines, Leon O'Neal, DeMarvin Leal. I mean, there's some new faces. You could almost put Tyree Johnson and then you could put Jeremiah Martin. The list goes on, but at the top 5 or so of that list, you couldn't convince me that any one of those 5 won't be really good next year.
Let me ask you this. The guys that they're replacing, all those names you just said, are they more talented athletes than the guys they're replacing? And I think in most cases, it's either a push or a yes, they are.
Pure athletes, yes, Hines and Buddy are.
Leon, I'd put as a push.
Those two
with
linebackers
Donovan.
were really good. Leon, I would say a push with Dono, but Leon, Leon told me the other day he's going to fight to stay under 210 all year. He said he got up to was playing last year at like 218, 219.
Wow.
And I'm not crazy if he didn't say like 228. I don't think he did. I think he said like 218. But he was too big, and he lost that weight. He looks great right now.
Is Michael Clemens a better athlete than Landis Durham? Probably so.
Yeah,
so what I'm saying is,
when you combine how big he is to go with the athleticism.
So all I'm saying is that the pieces that you're replacing these contributors, these experienced guys with, at the very least, you're replacing them with more talented individuals. So does that mean they're going to make more plays? No, because they were so good. Dalen, Kingsley, those guys were so good.
Well, they were also so experienced, and that's the big that I think will be the biggest thing that Mike Elko has to work through this year is you're going to have a lot of inexperience on the field compared to what you had last season.
On the other side of the break, let's get into some of those guys that are heading into the combine this week. You listen to Beliucci Hour Lunch live on the Zone.
TAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on Sports Radio 1150 in the Zone 102.7 FM. A head-on crash on Highway 6 north of OSR this morning under the railroad bridge left one driver dead and another in the hospital.
We had a northbound Mazda passenger vehicle cross over the center lane into the southbound inside lane, striking a Ford 250 pickup truck head-on.
DPS Sergeant Jimmy Morgan says the driver of the car died and the driver of the pickup was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. No names have been released because family members are still being notified. One lane of Highway 6 is open in each direction. As the city of College Station establishes a new midtown development, Bryan's mayor questions the use of the name of a long-established area of his town. On WTAW, Andrew Nelson praises developer James Murr's development in the center of College Station, except when it comes to using the midtown branding.
And maybe we can get some help from the city of College Station. I don't think they can order someone to be smarter about their name, but if there's a way that they could cajole them, I certainly would encourage it.
Murr told WTAW News he will respond to Nelson's comments after reviewing unidentified public documents. An 11-page arrest report lays out stalking allegations against a Bryan man who was already in jail on charges of violating probation after pleading guilty to violating a protection order against another woman. 37-year-old Blake Joffrian is accused of making 29 calls that were not answered by the stalking victim and leaving 21 voice messages. And the victim says he came to her home without permission and called her place of employment. Joffrian is in jail in lieu of a $100,000 bond on the stalking charge and another $100,000 bond for having cocaine in his house. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on Sports Radio 1150 and the Zone 102.7 FM.
Join Messina Hoff Winery for their Wine and Roses weekend, featuring an all-day festival followed by a 5K and half marathon. Saturday, April 13th, enjoy wine tastings, food, local vendors, arts, grape stomping, and so much more. Sunday, April 14th, experience a run through the vines, complete with wine tastings and a buffet breakfast. Visit MessinaHoff.com/wine and roses for more information and to purchase ticket packages. Eat, drink, stomp at Messina Hoff.
Drink or glass of Boots sweet tea.
Welcome back, Beliucci Hour Lunch. Ryan Brauninger, Beliucci from here at the tap. As Luch tries to help me with my New York City trip that I've got planned this coming
shall
weekend.
we discuss this? I think I've convinced you to.
Well, I mean, I just don't want to, like, I just started on this new
fall off
diet,
the rail.
right?
He started a new diet. He's going back to the no
The
carbs,
meat man.
The meat man, Meatinger. But I've told him you can't go to New York for your first time, and you have plans to
a pizza place and an Italian food place, like a hole-in-the-wall Italian food
at least
spot.
an Italian food place, you could still eat really good food and lay off the carbs. Although I'm philosophically, I'm incredibly, I'm diametrically opposed to you walking into an authentic New York Italian restaurant and not eating pasta. But I will let you get
some. What's that? Where you get
some kind
mozzarella?
Of piccata,
yeah.
You know, even go with the Parmesan and just say it's got a little of the breading on it, but that's not bread. Get some kind of veal or eggplant Parmesan, chicken parm if you have to. Be basic, but you gotta. If he's gonna go right, Bronny, if you're gonna go into New York City and have your first ever New York pizza, and you're even gonna go into a pizza restaurant and watch, you know, whoever you're with eat pizza, you've got to partake. Yeah. And just if you give me that and you just do that,
well, the thing is
then
like
I will.
The majority, apparently, the majority. So I'm going up there. and I'm going to speak with the A&M club up there, and the majority of the people that were going to be around for the entire weekend are like Texans.
Yeah.
So like I feel like it's a good kind of gateway for me because you know me, like if I go up there with a bunch of guys like your family, they'll eat me up and spit me out. I'll be back on a plane in 24 hours.
I'll tell you what, they would insist that you eat pizza.
What's your cousin's name?
Eat the pizza. Trust me, eat the pizza.
Chubby and what?
Rocco and Chubby.
Rocco and Chubby. Yeah.
So it would be that would be a little much. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes.
Yeah. A&M got some combine this week, right? And just we've gone over all these guys that are going in. So give me a couple of events that you're interested in, the numbers for some of these guys, whether it's what Dalen Mack measures in at height-wise or, you know, what Kingsley Kiki's shuttle's going to be or Jace's 40. Yeah.
I think you had a good one with the Dalen height. I think
is that going to deter them, though?
No, they know he's not tall. Yeah. They understand it. But I think he can help himself. If they look at him and go
6'1",
on tape, the guy looks like he could be 5'11" because he's so wide and so, you know, built like a refrigerator. And if he walks in there and he's 6'1 1/4, it's like, oh wow, we thought maybe he's going to be, you know, shade under 6 foot or 6 foot. He's 6'1 1/4. So there's that. Again, they understand he's not tall, so that's not going to hurt him, but.
His shuttle may be really good for a guy that's going to weigh what he's going to weigh.
That's going to weigh what he's going to weigh. I think Jace's 40 will be really interesting. And for Jace, a lot of these measurables are going to matter a lot. How much does he weigh? How fast does he run? Is he strong?
He played at this year?
Is he going to do 14 reps on the bench and have it be a red flag? Is he going to do 22, 23, and it's not a problem either way? I just don't know because we haven't seen Jace through many offseasons, so we haven't heard about the numbers and stuff. He looks fast to me on the field, but is he a guy that, just like Jimbo has said many times during the season, carries his pad so well that is he going to test at a 4.6?
I think if he's sub 4.7, I think if he's sub 4.7,
you know?
it's really good, right?
Yeah. So I don't know on Jace. Jace is a big time wild card. I've got confidence in the guy. I think he can test well, but you don't know. Is he going to weigh? I'm gonna check with him today and see where he's weighing right now. Because to me, if he's 238, 242, or if he's 248, 252, that's a night and day difference. I mean, and I think he's got a range about him that could be the wildest of any of the guys coming out. I'd be interested to see how Dodson runs.
Yeah.
Tyrell Dodson. I think.
And what's he going to be height weight? Because he was thick throughout the year.
I think
245, 250.
He looks like he really leaned up right now. I would like to see him when the scouts see him, they're going to be more impressed. Like when he walks in the room, okay, he's taller than you think on the field. I don't know if it's the way he wore his pads or something, but in person you realize he's taller in person than I think he looks on the field. I always thought that. And I want to see what his speed is.
You know, the one guy that nobody's talking about, Billy, that could help himself the most? Otaro Alaka.
Yeah.
Because he's going to walk in there and turn heads with his physicality.
Oh, he's going to be as good looking walking in there and in those, Olympics without pads, as they call it. But he's going to look as good as damn near any linebacker there.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks the part, and he played the part the last 2 years.
What if he runs 4.7?
Everybody talks about his injuries and stuff. That label has been with Alaka, and I think there's reason for it. He always seems to be playing hurt, but the reality is until that bowl game, if he missed one game over the last 2 years, he was healthy for 2 seasons, and it showed in his performance. He really helped himself. He's going to get drafted. I don't know how much he can push himself up because, ironically enough, he missed a lot of that postseason stuff because of an injury.
I saw you liked a tweet about Eric McCoy and I didn't dive into the guy's background that tweeted it, but talking about he's got him graded. The guy had him graded as the number 15 overall player in the draft.
Wow, I didn't even notice that one.
Would it shock you to see him go early second, or you still think that's too high?
It wouldn't shock me, but I think second half of the second, first half of the third for McCoy. If you made me pick today, I think some team is going to realize how damn good this guy is, and I think he's going to go in the second.
How many first-round centers are – the guy from Arkansas that went to Dallas, right?
One a year. If that.
Yeah. I think your best value for centers is in that second or third-round range. But everybody's praising the kid.
I think people are going to look at him and say, that's the best center in the draft this year. So where does that?
It's so bizarre that they kept trying to make him
play guard.
Yeah, he can't. But he's going to come out as one of the best centers, maybe the best center A&M's ever had. And it was felt for 2 years they were trying to get any reason to move him out of there.
But a lot of that was because he struggled with the shotgun snap so much that it was kind of, I think the overriding kind of pervading thought there was this is it's detrimental to the offense when the quarterbacks are reaching around and taking stuff. But B, obviously it's something he really has to work on, and if we could take that off his plate and just let the dude block, imagine how good he could be.
Well, to his credit, he cleaned it up.
He cleaned it up, and he also got to snap under center a lot this year. So, yeah, I think he had an incredible senior year. He had an incredible career at Texas A&M. He really should have been a 2-time All-SEC pick, in my opinion. Watch the draft, and let's see where the guy from Alabama goes versus where Eric McCoy goes.
I think he's a better player, and I think he's going to test better.
I think he has been the last 2 years. Yep. He just didn't play on Alabama's offensive line.
On the other side of the break, we'll close the show here on a Monday. You listen to Beliucci Hour Lunch live on The Zone.
Kids, be the future of the 12th man. Join the Junior Aggie Club today. Members of the official Kids Club of Texas A&M Athletics are 12 years of age and younger. There are lots of membership perks, tons of fun to be had, and even more memories to be made. Join the Junior Aggie Club today to receive free admission to Aggie's athletic events throughout the year, plus exclusive access and experiences. Group, sibling, and 12th Man Foundation discounts are available. Visit JuniorAggieClub.com and join today.
New coach John Legend joins Adam, Blake, and Kelly on an altogether legendary new season of The Voice. Then, the premiere of the new drama, The Enemy Within. CIA agent Erica Shepard betrayed her country.
I made a choice to save my daughter.
Branded a traitor, she'll partner with the FBI to take down America's greatest enemy, the man who set her up.
I want to fight every day to earn my way back.
The Enemy Within, after The Voice. It's a night of huge premieres tonight on NBC.
Live MMA is back. The Ranch Harley-Davidson presents Valor Fight League 6. Friday, March 1st at the Hilton College Station. Meet the fighters at 4 Down Sports Bar at the Thursday night weigh-in party. Then watch them battle it out live on Friday. Valor Fight League 6. Friday, March 1st at the Hilton College Station. Special thanks to corner sponsors Sterling Auto Group and Modelo. Get tickets now at ValorFightLeague.com.
Everyone makes mistakes. Mistakes can land you on the wrong side of the law. If so, you need someone on your side. Steve Gustitis, attorney at law, has over 20 years' experience fighting felony and misdemeanor charges. Steve Gustitis will fight for you. Call now to set up your free consultation, 823-9111. Qualified people are ready to take your call. Call 823-9111 or visit GustitisLaw.com to see how Steve Gustitis can put the law on your side.
Join Messina Hoff Winery for their Wine and Roses weekend featuring an all-day festival followed by a 5K and half marathon. Saturday, April 13th, enjoy wine tastings, food, local vendors, arts, grape stomping, and so much more. Sunday, April 14th, experience a run through the vines, complete with wine tastings and a buffet breakfast. Visit MessinaHoff.com/wine and roses for more information and to purchase ticket packages. Eat, drink, stomp at Messina Hoff.
Tuesday, February 26th is the most popular show of the year on Sports Talk. Join Krista and me at the Brazos County Expo Center for the Taste of Aggie Land. Listen in as we eat chicken, barbecue, steak, desserts, and much more. There's nothing more entertaining than listening to us munch on goodies. Stop by the table in the foyer and claim some valuable prizes. It's the annual Taste of Aggie Land, Tuesday, February 26th, exclusively on your home for good eats, Sports Radio 1150 in the Zone 102.7 FM.
Oh, you gonna take me home tonight? Oh, down beside that red firelight. Oh, you gonna let it all hang out? Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
You just cut it off like that.
Yeah, I was ready for the bridge there. Ryan Brauninger, Billy Liucci with you, closing the Beliucci Hour lunch on this Monday, February 25th. Luch, I want to get your thoughts on this. I hit it in the first segment, but to close the show, just 4 out of 5 on the hardwood. Guys playing well. Savion Flagg, Player of the Week. Regardless of what happens in the head coaching position during this offseason, I made a point in the first segment that the expectation with the guys coming back and the guys coming in on this team should be the NCAA tournament, regardless of who the head coach is. Agree?
Agree. I think every year that should be and I think Billy Kennedy's done a tremendous job with this particular team. When Admon Gilder, when it was found out he wasn't going to play, I looked at the SEC and that schedule, and I thought I'd be surprised if they won 5 conference games. Mm-hmm. And you know, now they're already there at 5 with about how many left? 4 or 5?
Yeah, I think 4 left.
And I think he's done a nice job with this team to have them playing their best ball now, and they're playing with confidence, and they haven't given up. So,
well, it's highly unlikely, but they could get to a postseason tournament still.
Yeah,
it's highly unlikely.
And I do think the expectation is to make the tournament every year with the understanding that there's going to be some rebuilding years, and I think this would have been one. Even with Gilder, though, they could have, you could have seen them you could have looked at that team and say, okay, this team should be able to make a tournament. When you took him away, it became really hard for them.
I wonder if Admon comes back.
I think that would depend on what happens with the whole coaching situation.
In Europe, and Damani Richardson being here, but does it set it back not having those 2 talented guys in?
I don't think it sets it back. I mean, to me, that would be like they were here and then unavailable.
Right.
I mean, obviously, if you're saying it's the preference that they would be here, well, yeah, but I mean, that's not up to you, really. I mean, it's not. I mean, not up to you as the A&M. It's up to, or do kids graduate early or do they not? I think it's an opportunity for Derek Tucker more so than anybody to show, like, hey, don't forget about me. I know I didn't have a monster sophomore season. There are things I didn't do as well last year that I can do better. Keep my head up when tackling, make plays in coverage. Things that he flashed in year 1 and didn't show. I think it's a very important spring for Derek Tucker. It's a huge spring for Leon O'Neal and his development as well. But the guy that I'm most interested to see this spring actually would be Keldrick Carper.
Good call. He's often forgot about.
Yeah,
and somebody's got to play that Deshaun Capers-Smith role.
And he's got real talent. Mm-hmm. He's not – if he came out again, he still wouldn't be a 5-star recruit. But he's got real talent. Mm-hmm. He's got some range back there, and he's a real smart kid. So Be interested to see.
At corner, you talked about Elijah Blades, but what about Clifford Chapman? He's the
wild card.
Well, what they somebody on the message boards was calling him something like with, he's talked about, but nobody's ever seen him. It's like a mysterious superhero kind of guy, because and he tweeted a picture of himself today or yesterday. Enormous. To think he's a corner.
He's every bit of 6'4", and he's filled out. I mean, again, one of these newcomers I didn't even mention when I was naming all those guys.
Kane Okeke was another one.
Okeke.
That
So
Jimbo
there's
mentioned
a lot
by
of
name,
new guys coming in that were unavailable last season. So, when you talk about Chapman, a lot of raw talent, and he only adds to that. He might be as gifted as damn near anyone on that defense, physically.
A&M baseball in Houston this weekend. You going?
Yeah, I'm planning to go down there. That's
a little disheartening on Sunday, right?
Yeah, but I would say not even so much Sunday. Like, you know this better than me. You're going to lose games, and you're going to lose games to lesser teams. Look at Florida right now in some of these midweek games. And, it's not like your starter didn't get shelled out there. That would have been a concern.
The starting pitching's going to keep them in.
Here's my concern, and I know it's a long season, but I've had concerns over two things on this team. And fielding, in my opinion, and you might throw stats out to correct me. I just go watch the games. What do I know? I don't feel like we've generally seen strong fielding teams for Texas A&M. I'm not saying they're always bad, but it's rarely a team strength, and sometimes it's a little bit of a weakness. I worry about that a little bit. I don't look at them and go, man, I think they're going to be really good defensively yet. I mean, and then –
the magic number fielding percentage is 970.
Okay.
And they were at 989 going into the weekend. It's going to come down the more chances that they have. But you field around 9 – this team can field 970. Okay. Now, I agree. They may not be elite at all positions, but they're good enough to field 970. And you can go to Omaha at 970.
Okay. Yeah. Now, my second part of that are the bats and the lineup. And I know Shoemake is scrapping right now. I know everyone's convinced he'll come out of that. If anyone's gonna, it's him. You can't knee-jerk and overreact, good or bad. We get that.
But this weekend is a litmus test.
Yeah, it is, because to me this past weekend, and I think if you're being fair and honest, the question of can this team hit is a fair question.
Yeah.
If you say they can't hit, then I think you're getting out ahead of yourself too. But to sit there and go, I want to know if this team can hit or not, at the level you're going to need to in the SEC is what we're talking about.
They're talented enough to hit.
Yeah.
But will they hit against this schedule, against those arms? We'll see. Luch, good stuff. Yeah. We'll see you guys back here on Thursday. Listen to Beliucci Hour Lunch. Louie's on the other side of the break.
Folks are always looking for a place to meet friends, grab some food, relax, and